Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. Great article from Yahoo Finance. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys could check it out. So this is the longer video, the longer breakdown of the soon to be announced as early as this week, Verizon nearing a deal for Frontier Communications. And the original report comes from the Wall Street Journal. Genius move. This is a genius move by Verizon. One of the best moves I have seen them make, likely since they bought C-band. And they were going to buy C-band. That was a foregone conclusion. This is that big of a move and has that much of an impact, in my opinion, as the C-band purchase. So just briefly to discuss why this is a genius move. If, and I'm very confident in this, if Verizon doesn't make this play, AT&T does it in the short term and T-Mobile does it in the long term. Either or. If Verizon does not buy Frontier in the short term, AT&T is going to buy it. And if AT&T doesn't buy it, T-Mobile will buy it in the long term, like 2026, 2027. So essentially what Verizon did and why this is a genius move, they one-upped AT&T and they also one-upped T-Mobile. And I'm confident that AT&T was wanting to buy Frontier. I'm very confident in that. Speak with people behind the scenes. Everyone was on board and on the same sheet of music that AT&T had interest, a strong interest in buying Frontier to further fuel their ambitions to continue to expand fiber. And this was a way to do it. And for T-Mobile, the reason I put it in the long term is because T-Mobile is just getting their feet wet in fiber. And this deal would have helped them gain some scale, right? A little bit of scale. Wouldn't have been like a huge asset to them because they don't have anything to go off of except Metronet and Lumos, but those are still relatively small. But it would have gained T-Mobile additional scale. But now, once this is officially announced, I mean, we don't even have to speculate because Verizon is going to get it. Once this deal is announced, Verizon will get Frontier. Now, there's still regulatory approvals, all that we have to go through. So I do want to mention that because it could still fail. But, you know, I would assume that this goes through. I don't see this being a huge threat to becoming a monopoly, but I do see Verizon becoming a powerhouse, if you will, in the fiber space. They would have more fiber to the cell, right? If you know, you add that to the MCI One Fiber, any Frontier fiber today that goes to the Verizon cell, which there's a good amount out there that does, Verizon would now own that strand of fiber once this deal completes. So they would essentially own more fiber to the cell and own more fiber to the home. So this is just adding more assets to the already existing strong portfolio of Verizon's. So from that aspect, it's a smart move. They wanna be right there with the competition. You guys have heard me mention this. When it clicked for me, when AT&T talked about a huge percentage of convergence between wireless and fiber. When they showed us that graph at the Q2 earnings and it was closing in on 40%, I made videos back then that let me know that Verizon has to make a move. Yeah, they kept talking, you know, they kept downplaying it, but in those videos that I made, for those of you who watched them, they also said the same about satellite, and now they got 2 satellite partners. They got AST, and then they just got one with strictly messaging. So they're going all in. I feel, this is just me, I analyze, I overlook, I break it down, I speak with people behind the scenes, I speak with the sources, and I form an opinion. I feel this is Verizon's entrance, a bigger entrance into the converged offer. They weren't really playing that big or playing a big part in it because they really didn't have a bigger fiber footprint outside of where they currently have Fios today. So they say their converged offer percentage-wise isn't about the 10% range. I guarantee you Once this Frontier deal closes and they have the Verizon marketing, and they integrate that into their network, guarantee you that percentage goes up. They said it today. Sampath said it today. In the converged space that they operate in today, where it's wireless and fiber, where they have it bundled, 50% less churn on wireless, 40% less churn on fiber. The numbers are there. The numbers are right in front of us. So with this move, with Frontier, once this closes and they get all those fiber assets, I guarantee you that converged offer is going to explode at the very beginning. There's going to be a lot of Frontier fiber customers that don't have Verizon wireless. If Verizon's smart and they execute and those customers are greeted with a nice bundle option for wireless and fiber, give them a 20% discount, whatever, they will take it. They will take it. It's going to bring a bigger importance to the converged offer for Verizon. And Verizon through Fios, they also offer a TV product. So that's another big important piece. People are still looking for TV today. I got people messaging me, hey, who do you use for TV? People are still interested in some form of TV. If it's streaming, cable, whatever, they still are looking for a good deal. And, the triple play, what they used to call it, the TV, the internet, and then the wireless. Verizon can now offer that at a bigger scale once this Frontier deal closes. So there's still lots of opinions out there, lots of speculation. I'm going to ask around. I'm confident that this deal closes this week. I mean, this is just too hot, right? Where there's smoke, there's fire, but this is really hot. People are saying it's expected to close this week. I'm going to ask a few people internally to see what they're hearing, but I'm confident that we will get an official announcement, or a press release, I should say, from Verizon very soon. Verizon's going to be presenting at conferences all week. Today was the CEO of Consumer, Sampath. Tomorrow it's Joe Russo, who's in charge of the network. And then I think there's one other conference that Hans Vestberg might be presenting at. So I think we do get an announcement sometime this week. And, this would be big. This would be right before T-Mobile presents their future guidance, September 18th. So this is good to see, right? So we don't have to no longer speculate on who's going to buy Frontier. We now know who wants to buy Frontier, and it's clearly Verizon. So Verizon continuing to spend, right? This deal is not going to be too much. Frontier is valued at about $7 billion, and moving forward, Verizon has to, of course, make a return on that investment. But $7 billion, if you compare what T-Mobile has spent, it's right around the same. So it's not that huge. It's not like Verizon is having to add $50 billion onto the balance sheet in debt, which if T-Mobile went after a cable player like Charter, Spectrum, Comcast, who knows, right? They would be adding a ton of money onto the balance sheet. They would go into big debt if they go after a cable player. So if that is a possibility, I would even say it's years away if that ever became a possibility. The biggest possibility I always thought of T-Mobile buying a bigger, quote unquote, fiber player was Frontier, and Verizon just blindsided everyone, right? They said, we're going to take this deal, we're going to run with it, we're going to invest in it, and we're going to make it work. They're going to follow their playbook. If it's one thing that they know and know very well in terms of execution, they know how to build the services that they operate. They know how to build a wireless network. They know how to build fiber. They know how to do it very well. They have specific departments for that. So buying a company that you had previous ownership in should be no problem in integrating anything along the lines that has to do with fiber. So if it's data centers, if it's whatever it is, Verizon will do it. They will do it very quickly, very swiftly. They will invest whatever they need to do. like I mentioned in the video earlier, less buybacks or no buybacks at all, whatever. They might not initiate any buybacks with this deal, very possible. But this is going to lead to further return on investment, a bigger return on investment than Verizon may have even thought. And this is going to lead to further fiber expansion. This makes Verizon a bigger powerhouse as it pertains to fiber than they already are. And like I said, this expands their fiber to the home footprint and also would expand the fiber to the cell footprint. They want to 100% own the asset that they deploy. Sampath was asked this morning if they're interested in the open access. He says no, not really. They want to own the product that they deploy and that they service. And this deal tells us just that, right? If they were interested in an open access deal, we would have had an open access type of deal with Frontier or someone else, right? That would have been the deal that we were presented. Just like what we saw with what we're seeing with T-Mobile, Metronet, Lumos, those are all open access deals. T-Mobile doesn't own the company. They just lease back the fiber. Verizon wants to buy Frontier. They want to buy those assets, and then they want to integrate those assets and deploy and maintain that asset themselves. They don't want no open access, no leasing. They want to own it, and that's what this shows us. So if it's one thing that I'm confident, the converged offer, they talked about that in a negative light, but then they did something completely opposite, and now they're buying more fiber. From what I fully expect is them trying to go bigger on convergence. Same with satellite. They downplayed it. Now they're going big on satellite. The only thing that I don't see them changing course and sticking to what they're talking about is the open access. I don't see them going through with the open access deals because they're still buying up fiber players. They want to own it. They want to own it. So that's one thing that I'm confident in. Unless that changes, they do not want to do any type of leasing. Open access, they don't want to do it. AT&T and T-Mobile, they seem to favor that model now. Verizon, no. They got on board. They're getting on board with convergence. They got on board with satellite. But with the open access fiber play, I don't see Verizon getting on board with that because of moves like this Frontier deal. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from you guys. Do you think this is the right move? Do you think this is a genius move? I think it's a genius move. It gains them more fiber to the home, gains them more fiber to the cell at a reasonable price. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you're new. Follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. See y'all in the next one. Peace.